All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Forging Brains podcast. I'm your host, Riley Patrick. I got my co-host, Gavin Cooper, with me. And today we got Weston Newsom with us. He's probably the most famous person we've had on the podcast now. He's coming fresh off of the Dale Brisby podcast, so he's pretty much a movie star at this point. How you doing, man?
Next.
Yeah, Yellowstone's next. Hitting the big leagues. Leagues.
How was that experience doing the podcast with Dale?
Oh man, I was so nervous.
Were you?
Yeah, and he just sprung it on us. We got done eating lunch that day, and he was just like, "Hey, you and Ricky want to do a podcast this afternoon?" I was like, "Are you out of people to interview, or what's the deal here?" But no, it was good.
You're probably gonna think we're a bunch of amateurs compared to him.
Oh man, no, I'm glad I got the kinks worked out.
It's pretty straightforward, ain't it?
Is that the first time you met him?
No, I met him, I guess back the spring before he came and helped up there, and then he came a few days back in the fall. So I've been around him a little bit. He's a good fella.
What were you guys doing?
Just branding calves up there at the Sixes.
Oh, okay.
He's friends with all them guys, so he'll come help us through the works.
I guess it's probably like content for him and everything all the way through.
Oh yeah, so. He does a bunch of them podcasts, and he'll pick up some content and just all kinds of stuff. And he likes punching cows. He likes going with us. He's pretty good help.
I do think that's kind of the funny thing, it seems like, about the dude. It's like he has like this character.
Yeah.
And then you can tell like during his podcast, like with you guys and stuff, like then he's like a different person.
Yeah. He's just like, normal Dale.
Yeah.
I like it when he's in the third person. He's like, I'm the best bull rider there ever is. Like next to JB Mooney, you know? Yeah. It's funny.
Dude. Yeah, Donnie Gay's sitting in there, and he's like, other than me, who's the best bull rider you know of?
Yeah, stuff like that. I think it's hilarious.
Well, dude, did you grow up in horses and everything, like in the little cowboy world?
My dad and my grandpa, they ran cattle, and when I was a kid, and then the market got real high in about 93. I was a little fella, and they sold all their cows and stuff off. And then we just hunted and fished and, did all that. And then I got a little older and kind of wanted to go to roping and stuff, and Dad jumped back in it with me. And then my granddad on my mother's side, he was a cowman, ran yearlings, and so as soon as I got big enough to go and stay the summers and stuff, I'd go to Oklahoma and stay with him all summer. I just kind of took to it.
Is there a difference between a cowboy and a cowman?
I would say so. I'm neither, but there's lots of good cowmen that can't get the cows gathered, and there's lots of good cowboys that can't do nothing but get them gathered.
Oh, it's almost like one's like a businessman in a way or something?
You bet, yeah. And Granddad, he was a good cowman. He taught me, a whole lot of stuff about just tending, just running a ranch.
Yeah.
Running a cow business.
And so he was like, you aren't talking like just 100 cows a year or something like that. You're talking like a bunch of cattle.
Yeah, and he ran a lot of cattle. Like he would roll cattle through real fast. Like he would buy stuff nobody wanted, get them straightened out, and send them to the feed yard. Like he ran big bunches through real fast, and then he turned yearlings out on wheat, and he had cows, and just a little of everything.
And so was he buying those cattle that were like ran down and stuff? Like were they local, or were they from somewhere else that like just didn't have the vegetation to support them, and then he was bringing them in on good feed?
A little bit of everything, just kind of depending on what. He bought lots of cattle out of Florida and Alabama and stuff, and then he'd buy a lot of them big bulls and stuff that lived down there on the river that they just happened to get caught and go to the sale barn and that had never been handled. And he'd cut them and straighten them out and send them straight to the feed yard.
Wow,
that was his main deal. He was wild and they were wild. He loved that deal.
Florida is not a place where I think there's a lot of cows at.
It's crazy. There's some big ranches down there in the interior, and them cattle are wild from down there.
Really?
In them swamps and stuff. Oh my gosh.
It's kind of a thing that I didn't think about it either until I went there and we were driving around. and then you
Yeah.
see these big old Brahmas, and they're in like this big old like sword grass and
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
and it's like, okay, yeah, this
Yeah.
is probably pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
man,
I've
you
never
wouldn't
been
think
down
it
in there.
would
I've
be.
just handled them cattle that came out of there, but man, they were wild, and they were big and stout and big old half Brahmy, half Charolais cattle, and yeah, it is a
They
deal.
got plenty of feed and water
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
Lots of
Man.
vegetation. Yeah.
So growing up, like hunting and fishing, were you guys in Texas?
Yes, sir. In East Texas is where my family's or my dad's side's from, and then that's where mother's family ended up, and that's how she ended up down there. And then granddad sold his business and moved back to Oklahoma and got started ranching up there.
Okay.
And he run cattle in East Texas too, but he wanted to go home.
So do you have like any aspirations to maybe be like your granddad and your dad, like running a bunch of cows, or just kind of like working with them?
Man, it just kind of happened, but I think I've got all of his country over there leased, so I'm fixing to kind of be neck deep in it.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Dang.
I'm
Man.
pretty excited. We're just getting it going, but me and
How
my
much
partner
land-
over there. But
How much land
What's
are you
that?
talking about? How much land are you talking about leasing then?
Isn't that
it's-
one of the rules? Like you can't ask somebody that?
I don't know.
I think that's like kind of one of like the unwritten rules. You can't ask a guy how much acreage he's got.
It
I don't
ain't
know.
I mean, as far as like being out west, it ain't no cow outfit. You know, it's not a big deal. I've been on lots of them big outfits, but I mean, it'll run 250, 300 cows, and there's a little bit of farm ground with it. We'll run some wheat cattle.
Because I think of like West Texas is like, 100 acres is a small little, but 1,000 acres is like a big plot or something like that. you know?
Yeah, this country out here, it takes 30 or 40 acres to feed a cow, and down there it takes 10 or 12. So you can
Okay.
get by, and it's a little bit smaller because it's all land rush country. You know, it's all chunked up in mile by mile sections.
Okay. Mile by mile.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
like not that small, dude. It's like 100 acres here feels big.
That's what I mean.
Right?
That's,
In the forest, it dang sure does, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you could potentially like get lost on 500 acres.
You bet. Yeah, I bet you can get. Yeah, and the sun ain't shining and it's foggy. I bet you can get real turned around.
Yeah, you get in the trees and you're just kind of you don't
that's
know where the hell
basically
you
where
are.
my question came from. Is like in comparison to here, like a small little bit could probably do
Yeah.
a lot of cows, but
mile by mile section is big.
yeah.
That is
Yeah.
big, but it's completely different types of ground though. It's kind of crazy. And so, are you planning to do the same type of thing he was doing?
Man, the cow market's so wild right now. I don't know what we'll do. We're just gonna have to kind of pick around and see what we can make some money on.
Because the price of beef is up right now, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, it is crazy, sky high,
Really?
unheard of.
Wow, that's
And it's-
surprising.
It's a good thing. Like the national herd is just real low. We had all those bad droughts, and they killed lots of cows. And there's not just the herd's just not very big right now, as far as the nation goes.
Wonder if a lot of people were scared of the chickens with the avian flu and decided to go to beef.
Yeah, and man, I'll tell you what. I think like the carnivore diet's so big. I think that's having a big impact on it. And people are, since COVID, people really go to paying attention where their food comes from and stuff like that. And I think I think the demand for beef is a lot higher and the supply is kind of low. And it's just, the string's really tight right now.
That's what it seems like. More people are trying to buy local beef
Yes, sir. Yeah.
than ever before. It seems
Yes,
like that's
sir.
definitely like everybody kind of knows their like little local beef guy. They're like their
Yep.
locker place
Yes, sir.
compared to before everybody bought it at the store.
You bet, yeah. I think it's really cool that people are getting away from the big packers and are staying more local. Then you know where your stuff comes from. You know your hamburgers from one animal and from two dry
13.
cows and a Holstein steer and a roping steer.
Oh man, it is crazy. If like I'm sure there's like a lot of people that are listening, they're probably eating good beef compared to bad, but it is like you
Oh,
can
yeah.
see the difference.
You bet,
Just like
yeah.
visually compared to like
Yeah.
you get a good local beef compared to like go to the like grocery store, you're like, oh, okay, this
Yeah,
is.
you can tell when you're cooking it, the whole thing. Yes, sir.
Oh man. So you roping growing up? Were you guys just like team roping, or were you guys doing more like the ranch rodeo type of stuff?
We team rope quite a bit and then rope calves. Daddy was a calf roper, and down there in
Okay.
East Texas, there's lots of calf ropers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Really?
yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just
Other
like the
other
thing.
than being really unathletic and not having very good horses, I mean, I had everything else going for me.
From the beginning of Forging Brains podcast, we've had the great sponsor, Farrier Box. They're doing something that's really different in our trade to give you guys, anything of the latest and greatest tools and designs that you may not necessarily want to go purchase off the shelf because you're unsure, but they'll give it to you in a subscription box every other month. So you can go to the website, farrierbox.com, use code BRAINS, and get yourself 25% off your first month's box. They're innovative and doing something kind of that hasn't been done before in our trade. So go show your support, sign up with Farrier Box, and you won't be disappointed with all the pretty cool stuff that you get. There's a lot of things that I implement in my day-to-day shoeing that I probably wouldn't actually have gone out because I'm kind of a tightwad when it comes to stuff like that. And so it's pretty cool to have Farrier Box supporting Forging Brains and helping you guys out through your day-to-day life too.
You do have to be athletic to get off.
Yeah.
Fucking run. You got to be athletic as can be.
Them guys, yeah, and anymore it's like everything. I mean, just like the WCB, it's so specialized. Like them guys are athletes. They're not just cowboys riding one of their horses.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's like, especially now, like you like see like today's steer wrestler, like they're pretty
He
much
looks like
just
a lineman.
Dude, they're just a college wrestler.
They are,
they
yeah.
can barely stay on a horse.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It is pretty wild to watch them. It's nuts.
Do you get into any like ranch bronc riding or like breaking colts and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, we started pile of colts. I never was a very good bronc rider. I had to learn how to sneak around them things and get along with them. And I worked around plenty of guys that could just step to anything, and if they wanted to hump up a little bit, then they'd go ahead and ask them. But I got along with them best I could and just tried to get around them. Went for plenty of bucking horse rides and got bucked off plenty.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll get a guy.
Were you pretty good in school, like throughout having these type of activities?
My favorite part of school was leaving.
Yeah.
I got along all right, and Dad was an ag teacher, so I had him in ag my whole life. So I did FFA and showed pigs, and I broke my leg when I was in 6th grade. And so I never did get to play football after that. So I think that's another reason I kind of took to roping and stuff.
Dang.
Did you like playing football before that?
I think if I could have got into it, I probably would have enjoyed it. Just, I like team stuff.
Yeah. That's, we'll touch back on that too. That's, was your dad an ag teacher at the high school or like at college?
Yes, sir. Yep. They're at the high school where I was raised.
Okay. And so like we didn't have an ag teacher at the school I grew up at. It's like, what was ag class?
Dad really, really liked to weld, and he's a good fabricator. And we had a steel mill in that right close to us, and they would give us all the angle iron drops we could haul off, like 8, 10, 12-foot sticks. And we did a lot of welding.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a fabrication class.
Yes, sir, a lot of it. And then we did he hauled us around to range judgings and like grass ID judgings and like any kind of FFA stuff we wanted to go to, he'd take us around to.
Okay. Yeah, so we had FFA, so I guess that it was pretty much just kind of a form of FFA, just like an everyday class, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, it was.
Did that bleed into like weekend life at your house too?
Oh, yeah. We were always doing something with it, or we were working around. Me and Dad worked around the house. We didn't buy anything if we didn't have to. We built just pretty near everything.
Yeah.
And Dad liked it, and I liked that too.
Yeah. Were you an only child?
Yes, sir. Yep. It's probably why I'm so weird.
No.
Spent too much time by myself.
my kid's gonna end up on that same boat. It's like,
Yeah.
she ends up like you. I'd be all right with it.
It's good and bad. I mean, there's good and bad to it. But
Man,
I mean,
I think
had
I'm weird because I grew up with siblings.
yeah. Yeah, and that's like my dad's mom. There was 11 of them kids.
Holy macaroni.
I was raised around, all my aunts and uncles and cousins, and all of them stayed right there. We were all, real close family. All went to church together. So, I mean, I wasn't just off out in the woods by myself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my kid is.
Yeah, them old depression people, they had bunches of them kids. They worked the heck out of them.
That is wild.
I suppose so,
man.
yeah, because the kids were
11.
the hands at that point.
Oh, yeah, they told me, like, Uncle Glenn, his job was to milk the cow, and Aunt Carolyn, she tended the garden, and they all had, one of them gathered the egg, the little ones gathered the eggs, and the older ones, did the heavy lifting.
All had their jobs.
Yeah.
For a roof over their head and dinner and food.
Yeah, and they're all just happy as they can be.
Is that then what you guys are going to do? You're going to have 11 for all these cattle?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. I'm scared to death just raising one.
God. That's it, dude. Every time I see people have more than one, I'm like, was it not enough? Was it not scary enough? For
Yeah. Yeah, I've nearly killed this one 3 or 4 times. I don't need to double my chances.
Seriously.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like, we'll see how this one turns out. By that time, it's too late. It's just too late.
Yeah.
Can't do it again.
Yeah, and everything you learn on the first one, it doesn't even work on the second one, they say.
Oh, yeah.
Goes against the mold, yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's great. So you went to college, though, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. Went to junior college there in Oklahoma, where my grandparents are. And then came out here to WT, where we live now. We went to Asia, and I went to college there at West Texas A&M.
What'd you study?
I started out in animal science, and then I ran into statistics, and so I changed to I ran into chemistry too, and so
Really?
I changed to ag business, and then I ran into statistics, and did general studies after that.
I never would have pictured to be a guy interested in chemistry and statistics.
Yeah, they were mandatory classes, and I was not interested in them nor good at them.
Yeah, that was a
okay.
problem, Gavin.
Yeah, that was the deal
He said
breaker
he
on
was
those.
not interested
I
in it.
thought you were saying it like I chose them classes.
Yeah, and I was no, and I was too dumb and honest to cheat my way through them.
Were you thinking when you first went in, did you think you wanted to be a vet?
No, my parents just really wanted me to go, so I was like, well, I'm gonna do something about something that I like. I had no direction, or I didn't have any. All I wanted to do was just chase cows through the trees. I didn't care about nothing else.
I got friends like that I grew up with the same way, like running cows and farming, and their parents sent them off to college just get an animal science degree, just so they had something.
Yeah. I wish I'd have done just a straight business degree or something like that looking back, but heck, I didn't know anything and didn't care. I didn't care about money back then.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you learned in college that you ever grab back onto now or from then?
Man, there was some of those ag business classes that I kind of think about that were pretty that I wish I would have paid a little more attention to. I had some really neat classes. I really did like the history classes. I got along good in those.
That is, even for high school time, every once in a while I think of man, I wish I would have paid attention during history classes a little better.
Yeah.
History, and I wish I would have paid better attention in English class. So now when I write things, people aren't correcting me. I feel like an idiot.
Man, yeah. And I was actually pretty good in English, and the English teachers for some reason took a liking to me, and I mean, you can't tell the way I talk, but I did get to where I could like write down a proper sentence and kind of know how stuff's laid out, and all that is.
Dude,
It really makes a big difference in everything.
it really does. I'm an idiot when it comes to that stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm constantly asking Chelsea. I'm like, so does a comma go here? And you like have to watch out so bad on Facebook. Jim Quick will fucking comment on your thing telling you suck at life.
Oh, they're savage if your diction isn't perfect on there.
Yeah, so it's like every once in a while I'm like, man, I wish I would have paid attention to high school a little bit better in English class.
Yeah.
So I wasn't an idiot now, but here we are.
Yeah.
Can't go back.
No,
But-
we were just, I mean, when you're cut out to work with your hands, you're just not going to do well sitting still all day, especially when you're that young.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So did you go to college for 4 years then?
Oh, I went long enough to be a vet. I think I went 5.5 or 6.
Really? Wow.
Okay.
Hey, I had to read. Yeah, I took minimal hours. I worked at the feed yard, worked at the sale barn, day
Okay.
worked.
So you're just kind of
Partied
taking
way,
a couple.
just had entirely too much fun. I was really good at college. I just didn't, the classes was the only thing that was lacking in the deal.
That's probably like my favorite thing about where I went to Farrier school was it was at a community college. So you go
Yeah.
to shoeing school in the morning, and then you got the whole college experience. You know.
Yeah. If I would have really done a lot better with something like that, like some kind of vocational college type deal
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, sure.
I guess though, in a way, that's what you did. You just said you were just making your own agenda. apparently.
Yeah, I just kind of did it myself.
Yeah, it was your own program. Man.
Yeah. But
That's
I mean,
what you
I got
were
my
doing.
wife and I got my home, and I got lots of friends out of college. I mean, it was worth the trip for sure.
Is that where
That's
you met
what I
Asia
think
then?
is
Is
big.
Yeah,
college?
Sure. Yep.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I think that's like when kids are like young people I'm talking to, like talking about going to college. It's like if I could, like, because I didn't get to go to college, it's like I would have went just for the social aspect, just because
Yeah.
you're gonna meet people that you're gonna like probably cue back into for the rest of your life.
I guarantee you, one of the fellows I lived with in school, he started selling hay off of his flatbed pickup to all them horse kids around there, and he sends hay to, gosh, I don't know how many big feed yards around here. He's got a caliche pit, and he sells caliche and asphalt for roads, and I mean he's turned into a
Little
business
empire.
tycoon around here, and me and him talk, at least weekly.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. You never know who you're going to be going to college
Yeah.
with, like what they're going to end up doing, what
Yeah.
that contact is going to do.
Building
sir.
relationships. Yep.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like even in today's like fast-paced world, it's like still a Rolodex, it's still a good thing to have.
It sure
thing to
is,
have.
yeah. Yeah, just anyone you meet, it's good to just be on your best behavior and be friendly around anyone you meet, because you never know what it'll turn into.
And do
Well,
your
I bet
homework,
that's-
kids.
Yeah. Well, I bet that's something that you've learned how to do pretty good. Is just, like at this point, is just go into random groups and be pretty cool. Like just like be able to talk and to hang out with people. Like,
I
go
sure
through the
try to
day.
be. I can't stand it if someone doesn't like me. Like we're gonna be friends. By golly, you may not like it, but we're gonna be friends.
Weston the social butterfly.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that doesn't like you.
I try
That is
to. I
one
try
thing,
not.
yeah.
I try to be likable.
Yeah,
I would say you are.
definitely the likable dude. That is always, and that's something that you've been on. Like, we'll come back into this later, but it's like you've been on a bunch of teams.
Yeah.
Throughout, it's like a ton of different teams. It's like, man, you don't get asked to be on a bunch of teams unless you're a likable guy.
I guarantee you that was it, because none of us know what was going on when we first started going to them deals. Like we were just buds and wanted to go, and oh man, we had a blast together. We had so much fun just practicing, and the whole deal was those COVID contests and all. I hate that them team contests couldn't make it, because they were so much fun. I loved them.
I think that is one of the biggest bummers is those team contests.
Yeah.
I wish more people would have got on
Yeah.
board with them and figured out how to make a team together with people and stuff, because it was like the biggest learner.
It is. And it's all horseshoeing.
Yep.
It makes all them shoes that you're making like make sense.
Yeah, each time at practice you would wrangle up some horses and like they are going on.
Yeah.
You were shoeing horses.
Yep.
It was good.
Yeah. It was great. Yeah.
So when did you start shoeing? Like, I'm sure you were probably shoeing some of your horses throughout just day working and stuff in the feedlot. But when did you start taking horseshoeing more serious?
I guess, I shod my first horse. Me and my best friend Josh were going down deep West Texas, kind of down there in that Big Bend country, and there's some mountains down there, and they said y'all need to bring everything you got shod. And we just had a bucket full of rusty tools and went at these things. We had some wood, like some half-round wood rasps in there, and like 6 pair of old antique pull-offs, and I can't remember what all kinds of tools we had. We tied horses down. We didn't know what we were doing. I don't know how anything walked away, but that was where it started. And then,
that was the first time, right?
That was it. Yeah. Josh was like, he had helped the fella he worked for nail on some shoes. He was like, Casey said this is the white line, and if we put the nails there, they won't bleed. I was like, sounds good to me. Let's do it.
It's a pretty good explanation right
Yeah.
there.
Do you remember anything what it was like? Like, do you remember any, like, heels hanging? Or, like, not covered? Or just, like, how low the nails were?
Oh, yeah, the clinches were touching the shoes.
Oh, Lord.
Because we were terrified. Yeah, shaping St. Croix EZs with a 4-pound sledge on a stall jack, stuff like that.
And don't touch the heel. Don't take any heel off.
Yeah, don't take no heel off. Yeah.
Stack them.
Man.
But yeah, I shot and just kind of went on from there and just shod my horses the whole time I was punching cows. And then in 2015, I'd calved heifers that winter, and then Asia was living down in Fort Worth, and got all them heifers calved out. And then I went to work for a horseshoer down there and kind of took off from there.
Okay.
Who was it?
Yeah, was that guy forging or anything?
Oh no, he was straight money man. St. Croix lights. Big wide PLR toe on everything, hogged the toe off, and then we did a bunch of horses. He was a good businessman, he taught me a lot about, running a business, and the day we were there, he went 6 weeks to the day in his book, wrote them people down, and we were back there in 6 weeks. I mean, he was sharp on all that.
Johnny on the spot.
And he was pretty safe. I mean, we didn't we didn't do nothing just bad, heinous or anything, but
you can't really do anything like that if you have a continuous book. Like, horses don't have to be off sound to be able to come back 6 weeks on the dot.
He kept them together. And I mean, I got to crawl under a bunch of them, and I think that's what a guy needs.
I do. Yeah. I think that is like one of the big things. Like you just got to get under a bunch of horses when you're
dang right. Yeah, that's you got to. With anything,
it's the waterfall.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's that 10,000 hours deal is true for sure.
Well, yeah, if you just have too much of a gap in between it when you're first learning, it's like, man, nothing's setting. You're just like restarting every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to go just wear yourself out, and then every day at the end of the day or every couple days or something, have them critique you and just try to start making small changes but just knock them suckers out, I think.
Putting on the St. Croix lights. Gavin loves those things.
I don't mind me a St. Croix plane or a rim shoe.
I bet you got to nail on plenty of them down there in Parker County.
I got tired of it, to be honest with you. That's part of the reason why I moved back.
Whenever I see those St. Croix ribs, I always think about when I had to come help you that time. Trying to clip those fuckers.
Oh, gosh.
Like, these suck.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Cross-beam quarter clips on them.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm sure, though, like, you already had quite a leg up just being around horses, though.
Man, yes, sir. Yeah, I think that helped a bunch. I couldn't imagine, like, at a shoeing school, like Dusty trying to teach someone to be around a horse, like someone that's never put a halter on a horse. That's because, I mean, all that was just, I was just used to being around horses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that's even to today that gets talked about a lot in our like trade. Like people start saying like, oh, horsemanship isn't really like a thing anymore, or like it's not taught a lot at horseshoeing schools anymore. And I was talking to somebody about it the other day. I don't even know if it's fully something you can teach to somebody. Do you?
You got to live with them, man. You got to eat and breathe them, I think. Or I did, like, that's one thing about like working on them ranches when, you know, them big outfits that I went to later on, we were way out there, like, it was just us and horses and cattle. Like, I mean, it's just like being an apprentice in England. Whenever you're doing it 7 days a week and that's all you do, then you got to get something figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to adapt.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
And do you think that like that with like the horseshoeing wise, like we're just not around them enough that it just forces the people out? Like some people that are just not horse friendly at all seem to stay around for a long time.
Yep. Yeah, I think, I don't know how they get by sometimes. Like, them horses are gentle, and I mean, in Texas, they sedate plenty of them. Which, I mean, there's a lot of these horses them quarter horses, there's a lot of them that need it. I dang sure work on plenty of sedated horses.
Is that primarily all your books is basically just quarter horse, or you work on like ranch horses? And
I think I've got like maybe 2 thoroughbreds or something on my books. But other than that, it is quarter horses.
Yeah.
I wonder, that probably is the trade-off, is most of your books sound?
Oh, yes, sir.
Like,
yeah.
Like not lame horses you're trying to keep going.
No, I've got a broodmare account, and there's, you know, some of them old aged mares that have been showed hard that, you know, I got to kind of help out a little bit, but it's still just meat and potato shoe, and they just need good trims and need some protection.
Man, I bet that is like the trade-off right there, is that like our horses are probably more docile because they've been bred and trained to be around these non-horsemen. They're like very soft people, but our feet and legs are shit.
Yeah.
Where your horses are probably sounder, better built horses, but a little spicier in the attitude department. It's like
quarter horses. It's like that scene on the Blues Brothers when they went in that country bar, and he's like, "What kind of music do y'all have?" She's like, "Oh, both kinds, country and western." And like quarter horses are that way. Like, we got both kinds, broncs and cripples. By the time they go to getting gentle is when their hocks and their stifles go to giving out because they've been ripped into the ground too many times.
Broke down and hurting at that point.
Yeah.
Man, I bet there's a lot of dudes that are like rolling around shooting horses there too, that like they can go ahead and stick one with some drugs. Compared to like around here, it's like, man, we just you don't even dare do it. Like, it's gel everybody. Like, that is the thing.
I remember riding around with a bunch of guys down there, and it would be no thing for them to have a bottle of Dermosodan on their truck and just shoot one up and drug it on its own. And there's no way I would even think about doing that here, you know.
Don't even ask the trainer or the owner. Like, they go to giving you a fit, smoke them down, shoe them, and
yeah.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to ask for forgiveness if it's laying on the ground dead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
That almost never happens.
Yeah. I swear I've never had that happen before.
Yeah. Who put that bait? So, like, what made you start getting into the competition world?
Man, I don't know. I just kind of fell into it. when I was over there in eastern New Mexico, I helped a lot of guys over there 2 or 3 years in a row, and I was kind of getting into shoeing. I'd come back from Fort Worth and move back up here to the Panhandle, and then I stumbled into Jim Keith's shop one day. And
Really? How did you just stumble in there? What do you mean?
I just heard about him, and that buddy of mine I was staying with, he's an older feller, but we were real good friends, and he was like, I was like, do you know Jim Keith or where his shop is? He's like, oh, yeah, and he told me where it was in Tucumcari, and I went down there, and Vince Smith was in there working on the power hammer.
Oh, nice.
And I visited with Vince. He's like, yeah, Jim's kind of in and out. He said, you may or may not catch him, and I bet not 20 seconds later, Jim come walking through the door. And, man, I asked him if he wouldn't mind teaching me a few things, and I got him talked into it. He probably still regrets it. But he let me come in there all fall. I'd help them guys all morning work cattle, and then in the afternoon, as soon as we got done eating dinner, I'd head over there and work it and just drawing clips, and then finally got to where I could make some plain stamp shoes, and Jim was trying to teach me shapes and lefts and rights, and I'd draw clips until my arm give out, and I'd go sit in there, and Jim would tell me horseshoeing stories and cowboying stories and old stories about being on the team, and just all stuff that I still do today. He'd tell me stuff about horseshoeing, and and it's stuff I still hear today that I do.
This episode is brought to you by the World Championship Blacksmiths. We just finished up with their season opener at Amarillo, Texas, where John McNerney was the judge. And it looks like they're off to another great start of another successful season for the WCB. The next up on their list is the Roadrunner Classic, which is at WCB headquarters in June at the end of the month. I think it's June 24th through the 28th, and that's with Sawyer Spradling judging. And we talked about it a little bit in this episode about the difficulties about that shoe list. So if you guys are looking to enter, the deadline is May 24th. So that's basically next week if you listen to this right now. If you guys want to show your support, go over to their website, worldchampionshipblacksmiths.com, and they have a whole line of merchandise and some tools that you guys can purchase. And then if you choose to buy something, use code BRAINS for 10% off. It's not including contests, fees, or membership fees, but you can help show your support for the podcast and for the WCB by going over there, support them, buy some merchandise. That's incredible.
Yeah, what a freaking place to walk into. And
What?
Pretty tailor-made for you even, of a cowboy horseshoer. That does
man.
It all.
It was. I mean, I was just as happy as I could be. I don't know why the Lord blessed me with getting to go in there, but I thought
the right guy to stumble into.
Yeah, it was a heck of a deal. Jim's so cool. Like everyone knows that he's just super genius. He taught me so much.
Man, that is huge. And so did you, from that point, after that, did you end up going to the Texas Professional Farrier Association stuff, or?
Yes, sir. Yep. Went down there to. You judged the first contest I was ever in with Jim.
Really?
Yep. That was my first go ever at anything.
Yep. That's so cool. Yeah. I remember meeting you there.
Yeah. And I look back at those shoes because you made those shoes cool. I remember that Frindy front that we had with the Hunter heels and stuff. I didn't understand any of that. Shapes. I struggled with shapes for so long. And now I go back. I'm like, that was a really cool list. They did good.
That was such a cool contest. There were so many people there. I met you there. I met Sawyer there.
I think it might have been Sawyer's first go too.
Yep. It was Sawyer's first contest. Man, I don't know what the fuck's going on today. We've had 2 random ass people walk by the house tonight while I've been sitting here. This is not a fucking road you just go walking down.
You're out there.
It's not. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, no, that was Sawyer's first contest. Yeah, your first contest. And I felt like a dick your guys' horse wasn't that great.
Well, yeah, you don't get the cream of the crop for free horseshoeing.
No. That is kind of how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
That is kind of how it goes. But, man, but since then, it's you have been pretty much at everything I've been at like since then. I remember now that it's
Yeah.
like all WCBs, and like I was saying earlier, it's like you have been on so many teams going through it.
Man, I got to have a lot of goes. I should be a lot further along than I am, because I got to get in front of them yellow anvil stands a bunch of times.
Man, it's such a fun deal just to go though. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody
it's-
needs to be like upset where they are. Like
I lived and
how
breathed
far
it.
they should be.
Yeah.
Man, it's just fun. It's a fun group, like all the way around.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you learned to like how to be a good teammate?
Oh man, just try to keep an eye on, not keep an eye on guys, like not run the deal, but just, look after them and expect them to look after you, and just, wherever, like the choreography, I think is so important. Like, know when you need to rip through a shoe and get done and get it on, and know when that you need to step back and swing the sledgehammer or sweep up or something, like, and let them other guys get done. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's a hard one for everybody to accept though sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Were a lot of the teams that you were on, were they all guys like pretty close, like located geographically to you, or did you guys ever have to fly anywhere or anything like that?
No, we all
Practice?
stayed within driving distance of each other.
That's a big help. So
Yes,
did you guys
sir,
like
yeah.
try to get together quite often then?
We'd sure try to. I mean, we were having so much fun. We couldn't wait to get to hang out again.
That almost seems to be like the biggest draw to it, is like getting to hang out with your buddies again and practice some build
yeah.
horseshoes.
Yeah, we loved it. Yeah.
What was your
Yeah,
experience like the first WCB that you went to then?
Man, the ferry, I did the novice, and John Nunn judged it. The very first one I went to in Madison, and did the novice through the year. And then my first category shoe list was Tyler Marshall's up there in Madison. It was that diamond
French.
toe that you had to drop through the block, and a pair of roadsters with that little crazy wedge on them,
Yeah.
and then a French hind.
The little
And I was
itty
going
bitty
down there, and
French
I was
hind.
hanging out with me and JD were best friends, and I'd blowed my knee out, so I'd gotten rid of a bunch of horses, and I had time I'd go down there and hang out with JD and Jukes in Weatherford, and Jukes was set up there in the barnyard at JD's, and yeah, I was like, Jukes, we got to go to war with the French today. I don't know how to make these things. You got to help me.
What a freaking first shoe list!
Oh, it was, yeah.
A
It
bruiser.
was savage. I could barely get nails down the middle, and then just had to go to making all this other stuff that I didn't know about. Just, yeah.
Because it's almost to a point where it's like you forget that it's a horseshoe.
Oh, yeah. I was totally hung up on. I was trying to get that inverted bar welding and trying to learn how to make heel cocks and trying to make that little wild wedge that Tyler had on there. Yeah, I didn't. Like, I'd completely forgotten that the nails needed to go down the center, and like it needed to like fit in the box and things like that.
Yeah, that it needed to go on a horse.
Yeah,
Like,
that was I
so
was way
hard.
past that. That was out the window.
Yeah, that is so.
You think you would have been able to manage, like, if you didn't have the help from, like, Jukes or somebody in JD?
Oh gosh, no, there's no way. No, Jukes, he held my hand through a bunch of those practices. I mean, as much as he could in 3 or 4 days, and then I'd go home and I'd beat my head up against the wall, and then a couple of weeks I'd go back down there and shoe horses with him, and we'd practice some more.
Yeah. It almost seems to be the process in which a guy needs to do it.
No, yeah, it was for sure. Yeah.
Get showing it, practice it, learn some more, get advice again.
Yeah, come get you another spoonful.
Yeah, and don't be like a bitch in the middle of it. No one wants to be around somebody who's not having fun.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. You wouldn't have kept getting the invites to these deals, or like to go do it again. Practice again if you aren't having a good time. Like,
Yeah, like that's
someone's
that's-
Debbie Downer.
Yeah, I never ever dreaded going out there and lighting the fire. Like, especially if some buddies were around. I mean, I like doing it. I like practicing by myself, and then, man, if your buddies are there, like, what else is there to do? We're horseshoers, and we've got a coke fire out there. Like, let's go build fire.
Yeah.
But is that kind of how you and your dad did things too when you were a kid? You think that it's like you guys were like building stuff a lot and doing things? Is like that's always just been kind of fun time for you? It's just like
Oh
doing
yeah,
something
no, that's
hard.
you bet. That's definitely what I like, and I like that's Sam Gooding talked. Me and him talked about that. Like he's like, I like the learning part. Like once you get it figured out, then it's time to go on to something else. Like, and
Yep.
I love once you figure a little old deal out, that's definitely what I like. That's probably why I've
Oh
never
man.
mastered anything. Like I get a little grasp on something, I'm like, oh, that was cool. What else can we learn? I'll just go on to the next thing instead of like spending a little
Honing
more
in.
time on it, like maybe I ought to.
Oh, I'm the same way though, dude. That's exactly like I'll figure out one project or something or an item, and I'm like, all right, never making that again.
Yeah, yeah,
Moving on to the next. People are like, can I get another one of those? Like, no, I don't make those anymore.
yeah, yeah. I'm done with that. We're on.
That's
Yeah,
not what I do. I don't
Yeah.
do those things.
yeah. I can't.
Things. That
And
has
that's-
to be cowboy, and in general though, at least, is just like in the suck with other people, but nothing's probably ever the same.
And I think that's why I took to the WCB because like the culture's so similar to them cow outfit people like bunkhouse guys, and everybody's
Really?
got everybody's back, and we're just there to work, and we're all just taking it together. Like no, if one of us is getting snowed on, we're all getting snowed on. Like everybody's just in this deal together. We're all going to the same place.
Yep. No,
In the
I
thick
do.
of it.
That is one of my favorite things about going to a WCB event. It's like somehow everybody's competing against each other, but everybody is like willing to help you out at the same hand, like to give you a better go than what they just had. Like that's
Yes,
all.
sir.
That is a very weird like community to be in today's world, but it's like, man, it's refreshing.
It's so selfless. Yeah, I really appreciate that about it.
And it is something that you wouldn't think that's how the cowboy world would fully be all the time. But is there just like every once in a while a bad egg that comes through?
Oh yeah, you know how with anything, there's going to be bad characters, but it's like WCB. Like them guys they change circles all the time. They don't come to the same places. Like them guys they stay. They're always hunting new territory because they screw something up everywhere they go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
When
Just
you're saying
constantly drifting.
you guys are all out getting snowed on with each other, like cowboying, like what's the longest you'd been out like camping away, like on horseback? Like how many days have you been out at a time before?
Man, most of them outfits you could kind of get back to some kind of electricity or something. I think 10 days was the longest I ever went without showering. When
enough
we
time.
stayed out, but most of the time we'd work out of some kind of headquarters, or we'd camp around a little bit, but it was just kind of little short stints.
And how many miles are you probably like trudging on throughout a
Man,
day?
I couldn't tell you honestly. A bunch of that country's rough and it's up and down. I can't imagine how far it'd be if you ironed it all out, but I bet you could dang sure go 25, 30 miles, on a big rough chunk of country with a fairly light crew, getting cows gathered. If you're really riding.
It's enough.
So on one of these ranches, what does a year look like? Like what? Like, cause I'm sure your chores and your activities and your daily job are changing throughout the year. What does a year look like in what you're doing?
Most of them, like any kind of spring calving outfit, calves will go to hitting the ground right there into February, and then into April, 1st of May, depending on the country. Like a lot of them big rough places, they brand calves a little later, so them calves have time to grow up and they can make them big drives. But you just get everything branded in the spring, and then the summer, them full-time guys, they'll get their colts started and stuff, and then go to picking bulls up, and then in the fall, just go to weaning them big calves and palpating your cows and everything, and then in the winter, feeding or, putting, tending to them however it needs to be tended to. And always calve some heifers in the winter. That's terrible.
Then when you say drive them, how far are you driving them? Are you guys driving them all like horseback, or are you like loading them up in a trailer and moving them? that way.
No, most of them outfits I went to, it was pretty well horseback stuff. About the only time they got jumped on a trailer was when we weaned them calves and we'd load them and they were gone. And some people would keep their calves and wean them there, and some people would just strip them off the cows and send them.
So you
They're all a
drive
little different.
when you drive them, you're just like gathering them into a bigger group, like into a pen
Yeah,
somewhere.
sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, they'd scatter us out, you'd take off behind the boss or whoever's country that was, and they'd holler you off, and they dropped you off. You didn't just divide and conquer. They kind of put you where they wanted you, and you stayed between your guys, and that way you're not riding in front of people, and it's kind of got a little, there's some rules to it.
How many guys are out there with you, like in a group on an estimate? Then like 5, 10.
But it's all different. The Sixes uses a pretty big crew, and I mean they work a lot of cattle, and sometimes we'll split up, but they'll have 17, 18 of us, and then a lot of them deals out west. We'd have smaller crews, but them pastures were just them pastures might be 80,000 acres, and we'd just work a piece of them a day with 5 or 6 or 8 of us. We'd just gather a chunk of them, and then they were rough, so them cattle kind of had their home. They didn't scatter out. You'd gather a chunk of it, and they'd just kind of go back home, and then you'd gather the chunk that was right next to them, and just kind of work them deals all the way around. Like out there where Dan Salcedo is, I worked out there a little bit, and it's it was that way.
And so where Dan is it more just like there's these little chunks of drainages, so you're kicking them out of this drainage
Yeah, sure.
into
Yeah.
the next one, and you're just getting them gathered into bigger numbers.
Yep. Yeah, and sometimes you'd make 2 or 3 little drives a day. Like you might throw some cattle down to a dirt tank and hold them up, and then, you'd make you another jerk and throw some cattle on top of them until you got enough to work or, had any horses left.
And then once you get them gathered up into a lot,
crazy.
are you moving them over to like a new pasture or something, and then kick them out for a little bit, or?
If, sometimes they have winter country and sometimes in summer country, and we'd move them around, and sometimes they just went right back home.
Oh.
Just let them loose right back.
Yeah,
so they just
you
go
get
back
done
where they
working
were.
what you were going to work, and then, hold them up, let them know you got a hold of them, and then just kind of turn them loose, and they pretty well go home. Every now and then you'd gather some cattle you've already gathered, but then you knew you were getting, you're getting your country worked.
It's so interesting. Like the area you're in right now, like the Sixes, like bigger open country. And
Yeah,
you said
sure.
they have like 17, 18 guys. So is this like, are these pieces, is there like a trap built at the end that you're like, you guys are all riding out and then building a line and pushing cattle back to this trap? Like to
Yes,
this
sir.
point in the pie crust almost?
Yeah. Yeah, and up there, we'll gather one big pasture at a time.
And
You
this
know.
big pasture, you're just like driving to a corner.
Yeah, you'll
Or
go,
something.
to a trap or the pens or, just wherever. Yeah, everybody kind of knows where you're going. Or a wind, you might have the hold up at a windmill that's on a fence, and everybody kind of get together, and then you drive them cows off to where you're going to work them.
Okay.
And when you say work them, are you kind of like talking about like doctoring them and things like that?
Yeah, in the spring, you brand them calves, and then, give them their shot, give them their black leg and IBR shot, and then, brand and earmark them, and cut the bulls.
Man. And how gathering, like, you're going to probably only get to use one horse through the day of gathering, but are you switching horses then to like brand on?
Every now and then we'd make a change of horses, but for the most part, you just ride one a day. And then, you carry around, depending on how long the work is and where you're at and what kind of horses you got, you pack around 3 or 4 or 6 or 7, just whatever it was taking. And I worked on some places we'd make a change of horses pretty regular, and I sure liked that. It was cool. You stop, meet dinner, and take you a 10-minute nap, and then make a change of horses. You felt like a new man. You were ready to go do something else.
Yeah. Man, I bet the horses appreciate it too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
you say-
you got to have a bunch of them just because it
Wears them
them
out.
cattle are very very ringy at all. It wears them out. They got to have
And you
some
say
time to rest.
the bosses. How does somebody become a boss?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
they
what is the ranking? Like what's the bottom and what's the top?
Oh, most of them deals are like they'll have a manager, more or less, and then sometimes he runs the whole deals, and sometimes they have a wagon boss or a jigger boss or something like that, that's just kind of their extra guy. And then the camp
jigger
men,
boss.
yeah. Then the
What's
then
a
the camp men
what's a jigger?
I don't really know where that term came from. It's just what it's called, I guess.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I have heard the word jigger, but I'm sure it's nothing.
I've heard it in a fishing lure. That's what I've heard. Is
I've
like a
heard
jigger.
Yeah,
I don't know where that originated, honestly. But yeah, they'll have like a guy that just kind of backs them up and knows the country and can help work half the crew, and then the camp men, if them big outfits, they got camps scattered all over the ranch. That way, guys are in the middle of their country. So, and then like us, we were just day workers or bunkhouse guys.
Okay.
I didn't stay a lot of places full time. Like I'd stay and help them get the cows worked, and then I'd go on to the next deal and just kind of had my little circles I made.
Is that something
they're like hiring seasonal workers to do the gather? That's the day work.
You bet. Yeah, just extra. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Is that something like they pay as like a day wage, or you kind of draw on a salary or a week's worth of work, or?
Most of them anymore day wages. Them big outfits way back in the day, they'd put them on by the month because they were working, 2 or 3 months at a time. But anymore, it's day wages.
I suppose a lot of it's you're working for the lifestyle because a guy enjoys doing that and being out there like that, and you're not necessarily in it to get rich, really, right?
I think I got that from my mother. My mom hates sleeping in her own bed. She travels all over the place, and I mean, it has since I was a little kid, and I'm that way, boy. I love seeing new chunk of country.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you. Is it? And so to get to a camp man, is that a guy that's just been around, like he's been day working for a long time, or like day working on the same ranch for a long time, and they finally like they hire him on a salary and give him like a residence?
A lot of times, like young fellas like me would, whenever they got married or been around a place and you knew them, be like, hey, I'm ready for a full time deal. If y'all have something open up, and they'll dang sure keep you in mind and holler at you when something turns up.
Okay.
Then how do they find a camp cook?
A lot of them, like when you worked out of them camps, their wives would cook for us, and the cook deal is hard to find. Like there is not a lot of people out there that can cook for them crews.
I bet.
Like do they just people not want to be a cook?
I think so. I mean, it's tough. Especially like them old wagon.
Is it kind of like the bitch move though? Where you're like, yeah, I'm just the cook.
No, them guys.
Everybody else is cowboy, and
they're royalty.
Cook. Okay.
Them guys get paid more. You step around them like that kitchen is their domain. You don't mess with them.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Like that is their area, and like movies always like depict that too. But it's that is interesting to know that they are like the man around camp.
JD, he's got that big fishing deal going and has a lease down there on the border on the Pecos River, and it's way out there off the grid. And I did some cooking for him this spring on some fishing trips. I enjoyed it. I like cooking out of them Dutch ovens and cooking over the fire and stuff. It was a lot of fun. And heck, they'd take off with the clients and go fishing, and I'd hang out in camp and get lunch together and put it in my backpack, and I'd go jump on the kayak and fish my way to them, and it was fun.
Yeah, man, I bet.
That is like my favorite. Spring bear camp is very like laid back. You don't hunt the mornings.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing is like getting up and you just get to make a big breakfast over the fire.
Yeah, just drink way too much coffee and hang out. Yeah,
exactly. That morning time's the best time anyways. It's like,
I'm that way too.
Cooking. Yeah, I could see that being like the ideal job on a cowboy outfit. Of like,
and
you weren't dealing with as much shit. You're by yourself all day.
Yeah, and dang sure, way back in the day, lots of old, crippled cowboys or guys that get a little older or need a little more money, or there's lots of guys that turned into wagon cooks.
Man, and how does a guy end up being like a manager or something?
Just like anything, they're good at everything. Yeah, they're generally they're good cowboys, they're good cowmen, they're good horsemen, and they can get along with the crew. That's you got to get the cows gathered, and you got to get along with the crew.
So would the jigger boss kind of be like the guy right below him then?
Pretty much, yes, sir. It's
Like his right-hand man in a way?
yeah, yes, sir, more or less. Yeah, I just kind of got their back, and knows how the deal goes, and if wagon boss has got to go off and the manager's got to go do something else, then they can run the crew and carry on with work.
So you've gotten to like forge a lot with like Ben Sneer, and Ben,
yeah. Me and Ben we've become real good friends. Me and Ben have a big old time together.
And Ben, is he like a boss, I guess, or manager of a ranch?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He runs that ranch that he lives at. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get to meet him and kind of get into his circle?
He just showed up there at shop night. John started doing when Burr was there before Asia went to work for him. They started doing that shop night at Wellshod, and so we just kind of that's where me and Ben hit it off and became buddies after that.
Well, okay, so step back just real quick. How did you guys get in with John at Wellshod? Because everybody knows your wife Asia, she works at Wellshod. It's like, so when did you guys meet John?
When I left Fort Worth and moved back up here, I was day working, and then there was another older fella that he day worked around and then shod horses, and he'd lived down there and worked around the Metroplex, and he's kind of like me. He couldn't stay out of the country. He'd go down there and work and make him a living, and then he'd go crazy down there in the city, and he'd move back to the Panhandle. So I got to shoot with him, and we just got to shopping at Wellshod, and then I got to wanting to forge and do all that, and so they started having shop nights, and then Burr kind of took me under his wing and started showing me some stuff.
Nice.
That's really cool.
They just had like a spot open one time, huh? So Asia just got
Well, yeah, Burr was going back to the racetrack, and yeah, John Asia was working at a vet clinic, and that's what she was doing in Fort Worth too. She really loved that, and she was really good at it too. And yeah, and John he snatched her up.
So that's kind of why they look to Asia, like at the WCBs, and a horse. If they don't have a vet there and they have a horse that needs sedation, Asia's the gal that'll kind of.
Oh yeah, she can dart them suckers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she grew up riding English horses and stuff. She's just good around horses. I took her on some deals with me. Like she knows how to. She can help you get the cows gathered, and she's good to have around livestock of any kind.
Yeah, we're all very lucky to have her at Wellshod. It's a very, very big bonus for.
Yeah,
for
she does. She knows everything that goes on up there, and yeah, she's just kind of the rover up there. If someone ain't around, then she can do their job, and then she kind of does hers in between.
Yeah, and she's such a people person. She remembers you.
Oh yeah.
That is huge to me. It's like so many supply houses and stuff you go to, and you talk to people, and they act like it's the first time they saw you again. And you're like, man, I met you like 5 fucking times.
Yeah.
It irritates me every time, but it's like you're never gonna get that from Asia. It's like she's just friendly, nice, remembers everybody, remembers all her things. It's like, man, that's such a bonus of a person to have around.
Sir.
And how often is Wellshod doing the forge night down there?
We do it first and third Tuesdays.
First, let's talk about the greatest horseshoeing supply house in the world, Wellshod. They're located in Amarillo, Texas, and it says a lot about who they are and what they support by allowing us all to come there and basically just tear up the whole Wellshod building. So they pretty much have every tool that you can imagine, or every supply that you can imagine that you need to use in your business. Just go onto their website, www.wellshod.com, and they got everything you can need, any tool, supply, and also the $10 flat rate shipping. So you can't get much better than that. If you use code BRAINS at checkout, they'll send you a little surprise gift in there as well. So support those who support you. I think that says a lot about the companies that have supported Forging Brains and been a part with us. Is they're invested in you guys as well, so help them survive by supporting them and purchasing the things they have to offer. So thank you guys. Third Tuesdays every month.
Yeah, sure.
That's pretty cool. That'd be a sweet thing. Like if we live, there's not any Farrier supplies around us that are doing that.
Yeah.
No, not at
It's
all.
Oh yeah, it dang sure helped me out a whole lot just getting to come up there and there's been guys come in and out. It's a good deal.
Well, what a cool community! Just like you, John, and Ben
Oh, we're all
together
just
on a forge night. It's like, man,
yeah,
that right there
we do.
is
We have so
gold.
much fun. Yeah, we've all got to be just real good friends. We laugh. It's a great time.
Man, and so now I was listening to on the Dale Brisby podcast. You're doing a little more cowboying again than horseshoeing.
Yes, sir. I'm still shooting plenty of them, but
Yeah,
yeah, I am kind of back. I never when I got hooked going to contests, I never planned on punching cows ever. I kept one old horse that I'd had forever just because kind of
really.
he was my pet, and I was like, well, I think that part of my life's over with. I'm just going to do this forever. And then Everett's getting a little bigger, and he's kind of taken to horses, and he ain't big enough to swing a sledgehammer yet. I was like, well, we got to do something. And we live in the panhandle of Texas. There ain't nothing. I mean, we can't go hunt or fish, or it ain't like
Yeah.
we can go fly fish anywhere around here or do anything like that. So I was like, well, I guess we'll rope and we'll do this.
Yeah,
That's
man.
really cool.
No,
But
no, I think it's awesome.
it don't get out of your blood. I love it as much now as I ever did. I didn't really figure it was going to be that way, but I sure am enjoying doing it again.
I bet it's like, dude, it's like if you're a crackhead living in an area that everyone does crack, how would you stay away from it?
Yeah,
You know?
that's a guarantee. Yeah,
It's like-
yeah. You pass 8 half-top trailers every morning on the way to work.
yeah, you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
Even in the
Yeah,
hard
that's
days,
right.
man, it's like seems so like I could see missing it. Like, and I've never even done it. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, it gets in your blood. It's so cool too. Like everything I've learned with the WCB, like I'm swapping horses around, and I can keep these things shod good. Like that yellow horse that we worked on up there at the clinic, he's just old school Roman nose pigeon toed thing as he can be, and he loves a side bone shoe. I mean, I'd have never been able to shoe him and keep him comfortable if I hadn't have, got to be a part of the WCB.
So now
so
when
that's
when you're out there with the cowboy outfits, they're like, give that horse to Weston, he'll be able to fix it up. They just
Word gets around pretty quick who the horseshoer on the outfit is. I promise you. I don't say anything, and that does not take long.
I kind of wondered about that because a lot of guys probably don't want to shoe their own horses, right?
Oh yeah, and the way it rained this spring, I tacked on so many shoes. Oh my gosh.
well, I bet it's hard too for you because it's like you probably look at them and feel bad for some of them. You're like, oh, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, like, you mind shoeing this horse for me? Please let me shoe that horse for you.
yeah.
We'll talk about money later. Just let me help him out a little bit.
Yeah. Oh man.
What are like? Because everybody always wants to argue that of like competition horseshoeing can't be like real horseshoeing, or like these horses at work and everything like that. It's like so I would argue like you're using these horses as hard as anybody's using a horse. Like, how are you shoeing these horses, and or what are some things that you've learned to like keep them going good?
I toe clip and hunter fit dang near all the fronts, and then toe clip all the hinds. And I
No
don't have
issues.
much trouble.
Man, and like, do you find that it helps you out a bunch having like a horse that actually has a hind toe
Oh yeah, most
when he's
definitely.
navigating country?
You bet. Yeah, yeah. They ain't wearing them old square toed shoes like so many of them are. No, they like having that toe. There's no
The
doubt.
other guys like look at your horses and be like, where'd all the heel go?
They're like, what's that thing? No, the toe clip is what gets them. They're like, what's that thing on the front?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And when you do like Jim Port has talked about that, like you lob some heel off on a cowboy horse, and they're just like, oh,
Don't touch it.
yeah.
There goes my life savings.
Yeah. We've been building heel up on him for 6 months.
How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah, we almost had him down to a double aught.
Now we got to shape an aught.
Yeah.
Oh man. Now is where you're at, is it pretty rocky?
In spots, you can, if you've got a good footed one and you can keep them together, you can get by trimming them a lot. But there's a lot of it. Like, it's not like Arizona or New Mexico rocky, but we've got some scalds that are they're kind of rough, especially down there on that river.
What river are you talking about?
The Canadian River. It's straight north of Wellshod.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks flat as it can be, and then you go about 10 miles north of the shop, and it falls off down in there, and it's rough and kind of nasty. It's really cool.
Like kind of cliffy almost.
You bet. Yeah, that's where them Indians would stay a lot when back when they were hunting buffalo.
Yeah.
That's where they'd summer was down on that river, and then they'd come up on top and hunt buffalo.
Now I remember Josh Knotts and Mike Ratterman. They said they went up there went up there
to Adobe Walls. Yep, that's on turkey tracks.
Okay. Yeah, they showed me some pictures of it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
What a name.
Turkey Knot.
Canadian River.
Yeah.
and it's so far away from Canada.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. To be honest,
could have named it the Mexican River.
I don't know the history on that, but I don't know who named it that or why they named it that.
Man, it's so far off. It's like, have you noticed a difference between handmade shoes and keg shoes of like slippage or anything like that riding in that rocky stuff?
Oh, not really, because I use a 3/8 3/4 keg shoe, and that's what I'd make at the house. So they're just racked a little bit, so I can put some offset in them. Is about the only difference.
Okay, yeah. I had a buddy that he's a bullfighter, and he was telling me that and he shoes his own. He's like, man, those handmaids are slick.
Yeah,
he's like, the keg shoes are softer steel. He's like, and they grab he's in New Mexico.
Yeah,
and it's like, so I was wondering, I wonder if Weston's noticed.
I could believe that. Yeah,
that's what I thought. I was like, man, I could see it, but it's like, man, I wonder if anybody else is like, or if it's just a placebo. This guy's fucking got it.
I could. And they say that steel doesn't compact or anything like that, but I don't know. Like pritchling out a hunter shoe is harder than pritchling out, a 3/8 3/4 shoe. Like it feels like that stuff compresses and gets hard, and them toes, the toes would last longer in a handmade shoe for sure.
Yeah, well, that's even no matter what, most keg shoe companies are having a steel made just for their shoe, and they are gonna have a steel that is slightly softer, so less carbon in it, just so guys can shape them cold.
Right? Because
you grab a handmade and you try to shape that fucker in some turning can. Yeah, rough.
Yeah,
good luck.
Rough going.
It's gonna hurt both your elbows.
Yeah, it's gonna suck a little bit. It's not gonna be very damn fun.
Yeah.
So, do you plan on kind of taking a break a little bit from shoeing competitions and focusing a little bit more on the cow deal?
Yeah, I've got to focus on something. I've got 17 different deals going that I'm just kind of hitting the high spots on, and then I got to building some spurs back in the winter, and I just added on to my shop where I've got a little more room where I can shoe out of it a little better. So I'm going to try to get that spur shop finished off and devote some time to that after I get all this stuff sorted out.
Dude, that would be so cool. So cool. What type of spurs do you want to make? Using spurs like what you would be using?
Yeah, I'm just going to do forged one pieces like you've done, and and then try to get good at the silver. I haven't messed with that at all, but I added a container onto the side of my shop where I can, put me some engraving stuff in there and go to messing with that a little bit.
That is it's almost expected, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
You can't really just make spurs without silver.
No, that's what sells them around here. I guarantee you. And a lot of guys, the guys that pay more appreciate the craftsmanship, and that's who I want to sell stuff to. But the silver is what sells them to cowboys, no doubt.
And it doesn't even have to be personalized silver.
No.
It could just be bars and wheat cut, and people are like,
little bling bling.
Yeah, just something, dude. And it's it kind of kills me a little bit because I'm like, I just want to forge things cool.
Yeah, just it. Good, clean forging is nice in itself.
But it's not a thing they want.
No.
It is weird. It is, yeah, because like I really like the dark look of things.
Oh yeah.
Of like,
We've also got the great sponsor, Yukon Forge. John's an avid supporter of this trade and is willing to do anything he possibly can to be out there and help everybody else. He's always donating his time and his tools for prizes, for contests, and clinics. So if you can support him, that's helpful. John's also got a whole line of different tools that you guys can go get. He's got tongs, hoof knives, fullers, hammers, the wrenchless propane nut. You know, he's got everything, and he's always trying to come up with different ideas on how to, make his tools better and work for you guys. Whatever works for you guys, he wants to, work on that as well, implement them into his tool designs. So you can go to his website, yukonforge.com, use the code BRAINS, and it'll get you 10% off anything on his website. He also just had something he's working on coming out with the Flying V, guys, and it's a bird hunting knife. So handmade knives that John and Flying V guys are coming out with, which is also a pretty cool project. He's also been working with Todd Walker and revitalizing Todd's tool line. So recently, John had come out and talked to us about purchasing the Flatland Forge driving hammer business. So John with Yukon Forge actually now is producing all the driving hammers that Jim Poor had created with the Flatland Forge line, and he's producing those. And he also, on top of that, he's got the new design that's revitalized by Edward Martin, the driving hammer. It has the little thistle on the side, and that's actually one that I'm using in my day-to-day practice now because it swings so great. I had used the regular Flatland Forge driving hammer basically my whole career until John sent me the one with the thistle, and it swings great. So go over, check them out, and we appreciate you sponsoring the podcast, John.
Making a one-piece bit or one-piece spurs, I'm like, I almost want to just darken them up completely like a horseshoe.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
and they want them. No, they want them shiny.
They want shiny, man.
Yeah.
What shiny. What are some things that you think are a sweet spur? Like just in shape, like in shank length, band to width, like width. What is like a sweet pair to you?
I like a kind of a wide band, but I want them thin and beveled, and just kind of almost springy. I don't like a real heavy spur, but I want them to hold up and like just a real fine, soft, soft work shank. I don't like those crisp lines and stuff.
Yeah. That I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
And I watched a video on a fella, and he was making his rowels out of tool steel so they'd ring. And I was like, oh, I got to incorporate that into my repertoire. That's pretty cool.
Did you say so they'll ring?
Yeah, so they've got that, that ping whenever they're, you can hear them things coming. I was like, I never thought of that. That's pretty cool.
That is, to me, what's like, you can take, just say like a Kelly pair of welded spurs, something, a nicer pair of spurs, but definitely a welded pair of spurs.
You bet.
And you can spin them, and they're a little jingly and dead, rattly, and you can hit the ends of the bands against something, like a music tone, and they kind of clank.
Yeah.
But if you take like a real nice pair of one piece
that are forged out of some carbon steel,
and they're thin at the end of the bands.
I love that.
Oh, dude, they ring like the whole things are alive. They have so much life to them. It is crazy.
I think that's
to me, it's cool. Like that's the difference. It's like that's the difference right there.
You bet.
Like, no, that'd be cool. It'd be cool to see what you kind of craft out of that. I'm interested to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. I'm going to try and actually like get into it for real and do good at it, not just learn how to do it and then move on to something else.
I think you're a guy to do good at it, man. It's like look where your life is kind of led on this whole entire thing of like just a journey on the horse of like learning so much metal work and everything else that's going to complement your spur making.
Man, the Lord steered me around in some ways that I never dreamt was going to end up here. I never planned to be a horseshoer, and I never planned to own a cow or nothing like that.
Man, but obviously you didn't say no though, right?
I try to be game for whatever happens.
Yeah.
Man.
Take advantage of it.
You bet.
Yeah. That's a lot of people don't do that today, though. They're like, well, I got something going on. I can't really make that work. It's like,
Oh yeah, I'm the other end of the spectrum, probably to my detriment. I'm like, yeah, I'll just throw that down if something else pops up. Yeah, let's go over here.
Let's do it. Yes, man.
yeah,
Let's have a go with that for a while.
That's it.
Maybe we can invest a bunch of money into it too. That'd be even better if we're broke the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
I would love to say that I'm different, but I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like you almost like hate when to like see somebody again that you saw a year ago because they're like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "Well,
yeah. How's this going?" Like, oh, yeah, I quit doing that 2 weeks after I saw
let's
you
not
last.
talk about that.
I'm on to this now.
Yeah, I'm really into this right now.
Yeah.
I'm all about this. Oh, dude, that's so good. Well, I think it served you good, man. It's you're a great guy to be around, and you've just been a fun addition to the whole entire community.
Well, thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anybody that asks about Weston Newsom, they're like, he's a great guy.
Well, thank you, fellas. I appreciate it.
Question I got for you though is like you brought quite a few. You guys brought quite a few of the horses to the Amarillo WCB, and the shoeing that day was hammer finished on the foot. Did you notice did any of your horses were the shoes have any sharp edges and cut themselves up or anything like that, or have any issues with anything like?
No, all that was good, and heck, I pulled. I used them suckers through the works with most of them shoes on them, and they ripped some off. But like saying it was so dang wet, everything. I lost shoes that I had hunter fit during all that. But no, it was all pretty dang good work, and I've got all the hinds are laid in my shop right now. Whenever I get ready to shoe them things again, they'll go right back on them.
That's perfect. Yeah, I kind of wonder because you say hammer finish on the foot, and it's like, man, hopefully that inside's safed up enough, and it's not gonna.
Yeah, no, I didn't have anything get marred up or anything like that. No more worse than what I did to them.
Well, that's good. That was kind of a question I was just curious about myself.
Yeah, that was a really cool deal. I'd never seen that on a shoe list, but that was cool.
It was tough.
That's the bitter irony of the deal. I love the tool making class. Like y'all's Fuller class I've been waiting on that one for forever because I got to make Fullers with Jukes and stuff, and then money later on.
Yeah.
And man, I'd been waiting on that class, and then they had this cool tong class. I'm like, dang it, I'm out of the game right here in our backyard too. Like went to Madison all them years and got snowed on and rained on and carried away by mosquitoes during the COVID years and all that. And then we have one in the backyard. I'm like, yeah, I'm out of the game.
Well, you got to go out there and you struck for Ben Sneer in the shoeing, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got strike for some guys. Oh yeah, him and Chase, and yeah, I got to be in the deal, so it kept me sane.
Yeah. Well,
still fun to hang out.
Weston, a question that we like to ask our guests on here, call it the Mount Rushmore, and it's basically 4 people that you hold in a high regard that have kind of got you to where you are today. It could either be horseshoeing related or family related or however.
Man, I'm going to keep it to just my horseshoeing because there's so many people, there's so many people that the rest of my life I didn't get to talk about that have helped me along, but in my family and everything else. But horseshoeing, as far as that goes, obviously definitely Craig, wouldn't have. Craig took me under his wing. He came and helped me when I was crippled. Craig's, just opened up everything in the world. Him and Chris have, they'll help anybody and that wants to try a little bit and got to meet all these people. And heck, everything he's taught me, I'm keeping my horses sound, teaching me. He taught me how to shoe horses a lot. I didn't get to have a proper apprenticeship. That's where he's the one that gave me religion as far as when it came to shoeing horses.
And speaking to you were bringing up the character about yourself, Craig actually speaks very high of you. He tells that story where the fuel pump went out in the semi, and you were more than willing to run out there a couple 100 miles to get him the fuel pump. Oh, shoot,
that wasn't no big deal. That was, it was right here in town. It wasn't no biggie at all. I'll tell you one funny story real quick.
Yeah.
When I was crippled, Craig, he was in the store and he told Asia, he's like, well, tell Weston, he said, if he needs help, I'll come help him. And I messaged him, and sure enough, he's like, yeah, I've got time this day. I'll come help you. I was like, all right. He said, line them up. And we mucked out a bunch of them. And, naturally word gets out. I don't put nothing on Facebook, but word gets out that, and all these guys are like, hey, Craig came and shod with you. Y'all just like make all these shoes and do all this stuff. I was like, I had a bunch of shoes pre-shaped and stood there to stall jack and closed them up or opened them up for him, and he bolted them suckers on.
This isn't a big old forging galore day.
Yeah. I don't know if we lit the fire all day. We were shoeing horses. He was keeping my family fed.
That's really cool.
He was cranking those things on there.
I'd be so nervous if Craig was coming to help me and be like, "Oh man, what's he gonna think about the shit?"
I was pre-shaping them things in the backyard out of my shoeing rig, and I was like, I hope this looks like a foot.
That's how I would feel.
But
it's funny. It's funny that Craig doesn't even care at that point. He's
if it's
like, man, we're just putting shoes on feet so we can make some money here today.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he know. I mean, yeah,
he gets it.
He can. Yeah, he's so like his trimming and stuff. He just whips around them so efficiently, and that's what he's taught me. He talks about it all the time. I got to go up there to Los Alamos with him. Sorry, I'm not trying to go into.
No, you're fine, man.
You're good, dude. No, you're good.
But got to go up there to Los Alamos with him and Money and Vince Vesley and Stone and Kristen and all of them and Chase Gwent and Craig, he would talk about, we'd ride up there and back 2.5 hours the whole time, and he would always talk about that. He's like, I just want to teach people how to do this quick and efficiently before they're so wore out that they can't do it. And I just, you hear that few trips in a row, I'm like, all right, that's the name of the game, is doing good work fast. Not rushing through stuff, like not skipping anything, but just touch and Jim Keith said the same thing. He's like, only touch a tool one time. Like,
yep.
Them horses, and Craig says, like, a horse can't hurt you if you ain't under him. He's like, get in and get out.
Yep.
Have you a plan, knock them suckers out.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a huge thing that doesn't get touched on very much, and that gets lost in, like, even shoemaking. It's like, everybody wants to make a cracker and everything, but it's like, learn how to make a good, safe shoe that's just going to get on a horse.
You bet.
And do its job. Like, there's a lot in that.
I think that was my favorite practice, was just making shoes for my horses, making concave fronts and put lots of plain snap hinds on these rope horses and stuff. That was my favorite practice.
And shoeing horses is the fun part.
Yes, sir.
That's for sure.
But
who's your number 2?
Man, definitely I'd say John.
John Harshbarger?
Yeah, he's opened up so many doors for us, and he and I competed together. We've hung out hours and hours in the shop together, and any of them team deals, if we needed anything, if he showed up, he'd have a ton of Coke in the back of his pickup for one of the guys, and John will just do anything for anybody.
Best dude ever.
He is, yeah.
He could even be considered a Pablo Escoforge too.
Yeah.
That's what we've been calling Troy, because he has so much coke. It's Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
John is definitely
he's running the coke cartel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Especially that close to the border. Man.
Yeah, he could.
Watch that.
Yeah.
No, it's like John is the best dude, because it's like, I don't know. I can smell a salesman from a mile away, and I instantly am revolted.
Right.
And it's just not who John is, and it's amazing because he's one of the best supply houses in the country, if not the best and biggest. So it's like pretty impressive that guy can be real, good guy, and successful.
And he is the same every time you walk up to him. It doesn't matter if it's morning, evening, Tuesday, Sunday.
Or who's around.
Who's around? No, he is John all the time.
Yep, I love that about him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he just does so much for us.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, that's a great second, because he's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, man, we've had so much fun. like, because he did the novice and stuff, and it helped me trying to. I hate that I was his main source of information, but we would talk about stuff and just break stuff down, and I'd tell him what I thought and what made sense to me, and I mean we just worked on all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
he's been fun. Yeah.
Who do you have on your number 3 is your list?
Definitely Jim Keith.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Very good one.
Yeah, like saying that was, man, what a great time in my life. That was so cool.
Man, right place, right time to walk into that shop.
Yeah, just to get to be around that. I mean,
Bet a guy wishes like he could have had like a camera just going the whole time, listening to all those stories and just, be able to recollect them.
Oh man, yeah, I guarantee you. And like I stopped in and saw him a year or so ago when I was coming back from Money's, and he took me around his house. His brain is a steel trap. He was digging through pictures and he knew names of every horse, everyone that was riding them, or any team he was on. He's never forgotten anything ever.
Damn.
I
must
can't
be nice.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh no.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah, and he'll just go build anything. He can do anything. He was into braiding rawhide when I was in there hanging out with him. He'd built him a lace cutter, and he was
really.
Yeah,
wow.
And I'm pretty sure that he went and found a dead cow and stretched her out and made rawhide, and he was braiding rawhide riatas when I was over there hanging out with him.
Buying something is not an option. It's just like you just have to do all of it.
Yeah, he is. I mean, yeah, hard working sucker too.
Oh man, no, that is like, I wish I was gonna be around him more because he's not a guy that I've got to beat him like a few times, but it's not. I've never been around him forging and everything else because it is like you see his pieces and his work, and it is just like total creativity. I love it.
Oh yeah, he's so creative, and that's where the blacksmith and stuff kind of. I've got to try to develop that part of my brain, the creative part. Like I'm used to getting measurements and pictures and duplicating stuff. Man, yeah, he can just think of anything and then go build it.
Yeah, that's huge.
He showed up at shop night in about 2016 or 17, and I mean he was 73 or 4 and made a one heat shoe.
Really?
Just yeah,
whipped it out.
Go cut me 11.5 inches, 3/8, 3/4.
Just wham bam.
Stuffed it in there, and one heated that sucker.
Man,
that's wicked.
I hope I can just walk at 74.
Yeah, and after as many horses as he's crawled under, and he's rode bucking horses, and he was a lineman there for a while. He's just done. He's had so many. He's worked hard his entire life. Yeah, and I mean still make it happen.
If that's for everybody out there that hasn't read his book, I've never called myself a cowboy. It's like such a great life story book.
It is. It's really cool. Yeah.
No, that's a great third, man. And it is like you're such a humble dude, and you're like the real humble dude. You're not the ones that like say, "Well, I'm pretty humble." You just are
right.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's like
everybody look at how humble I am.
Yeah, exactly. People love to do that. Like, well, I'm pretty humble. It's like, not now. You said one day. You said that.
That's good.
You're such a student of life, man, and you're just so fun to be around that it's like, it's good, man. It's good. You're a good egg, Weston.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a trip. I love learning stuff and hearing from people, and I like listening to stories. I love good story. That's one of the reasons I like Jim Poor's so dang. He's so handy and has so much knowledge, but I just love a good storyteller. I'll sit around and listen to a good storyteller for as long as they keep talking.
I am with you 100% of like the art of storytelling and just good conversation is maybe one of the secrets of life.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
Like of just enjoying life, I think that is one of the big ones, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, dude, thanks for spending your late night with us.
Man, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Weston.
We appreciate you.
Yeah,
man.
Y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all down the trail somewhere.
We will, man.
If not, we'll see you at the winter clinic.
Yeah, for sure. We'll turn up somewhere between now and then.
Yeah, we will. All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
See you, fellas. Thank you.